Hey folks, it's me, Wishy Washy. But if that's too long for you, you can just call me Wishy. Art has always been a part of my life. As long as I can remember, I always enjoyed drawing on a vacant notebook or any pieces of paper that I can doodle on. I was known as the artsy kid in class. I had a classmate before who would request me to draw dragons in his notebook all the time, and his notebook would just be filled with dragons all over. But I was glad that I made him happy about it. Back then, my art skills have always been a constant straight lines with no ups and downs, no curves. It's always been like a plain straight line. As long as I knew how to draw a couple of lines that form dragons or snakes, that was good enough for me. But now, I've started to take art more seriously. I want it to be a proper skill of mine, a skill I want to be known for. So that leads to me wanting to improve my art. And that is the perfect segue to the topic of this video, improvement. We always want to achieve improvement in our art skills. We want to get better at it. As an artist, I've developed some strategies in order to achieve improvement in my skills. And those strategies are what I am going to share with you today. And maybe it can also help you improve your art by incorporating these strategies if they suit your taste too. Now, improvement in any field has a lot of factors that need to be put into consideration in order to understand it. For my strategies, there are also a lot of things to consider, but I'll make it as simple as I can in order to not make it confusing. Art is very subjective, and if you wish to disagree or agree, you have the freedom to. Also, in the background, I'm gonna be showing the speed paint of my OC, who I named Dylan. Basically, to give a little bit of background about this OC of mine, he's like the Grim Reaper, but more sinister, I guess. He takes souls and consumes them to gain power, which quite dark, yes. But yeah. So anyway, firstly, motivation. Now, I've talked about this deeper in my last video. I talked about how I maintain my motivation by working even though I don't even have the motivation in the first place. And as I am working on a piece, then motivation slowly develops. It's kind of confusing because it's like work first before motivation, which feels very wrong. Um, but it works for me, so you know. Another thing that I didn't get to mention in that video was watching other people draw. Watching other people draw for me is a very motivating habit because as I watch them draw, the more I want to also create my own too, if that makes sense. Watching my favorite artists on YouTube makes me want to learn more about how they approach things in art, which leads me to my next point, studying, which I divided into two segments. One, studying other people's art, and two, studying my own art. Studying other people's art is very connected to my first point. Watching other people will draw will inevitably give me knowledge that I did not expect I needed. Knowledge such as dynamic poses or playing with colors, especially for my favorite artists on YouTube, such as Kryjovnik Art and Lavender Town. I am such a big fan of how they use different shape languages to make a different or make a personality in their drawings, and I also love how they render their characters. Both of them are very particular in the rendering process, especially Kryjovnik Art, and their processes make me want to also incorporate them into my pieces. This leads me to experimenting in my pieces, trying to incorporate their signature themes such as dynamic poses, smiles, and other facial expressions. By learning their techniques, I am able to apply them to my pieces. Not perfectly, of course, but at least I was able to put some other pieces of the puzzle. The second segment of the studying process is studying my own art. Specifically, I study my own drawings and scrutinize them very deeply so that I can pinpoint mistakes that I was not able to notice when I was drawing them. This happens very frequently because there are mistakes that will only coincidentally become noticeable when you're done with the piece. And it's very convenient, and sometimes it kind of makes me angry. And then by pointing out those mistakes, I am able to avoid them in the piece that I am currently working on. This can be either effective or ineffective. Sometimes I am able to cover those mistakes that I made in the past, but now there are new mistakes that I then have to study all over again to avoid them in my the next piece. Also, speaking of current pieces, when I am working on a drawing, I try to be as diligent as possible because when you feel like you want to be finished with it as much or as fast as you can, most of the time it will lead to a bad outcome and you won't be able to get the result that you desired in the first place when you were drawing the piece. This, most of the time, is because our motivation is running out, and so we just want to finish it as fast as we can because we don't want to stop working on it because we think that it's lazy or unproductive. This brings me to my next point, resting between drawing sessions. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes we just want to be finished with a piece as fast as possible. Um, because our motivation is running out, this can lead to undesirable outcomes. And the way I cope with this is to take rest in between or doing sessions. This will help you not only gain a new perspective and on your drawing and notice mistakes that you didn't notice before when you get back, but it also allows you to refresh your brain. Yes, it is hard to do because when we rest and stop drawing for even a couple of minutes, it feels lazy or unproductive for us. But trust me, if you are working on a piece while feeling stressed or burnt out, the results will be undesirable or aren't as fitting to your standards. Refreshing your mind isn't a lazy thing to do, it is a way of you trying to make your art better. Improvement, right? That's what this video is all about. Um, Coming back into drawing after a couple of minutes rest will also help improve your mood. It will help you enjoy what you are doing. To help you enjoy the process of drawing which is the whole entire point why you are drawing art in the first place, because it's enjoyable for you and it gives us happiness. Which brings me to my next point, enjoying the process. Make something that you enjoy, or like make something that you are passionate about. Like, why would you draw landscapes when your happiness is actually in furry art? Nah, I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, I am being perfectly honest when I say enjoy the process. Enjoying the process means you're happy with what you are doing. Again, I said this on my last video. Don't be a mindless zombie on a hamster wheel, because you are an artist. When you like something, it's natural that you want to improve in it. So, to sum it all up, motivation, keep it going. Keep your motivation going so that you have that fire within you that drives you to keep drawing. Second, study other artists or your own art in order to improve it. And lastly, prioritize yourself. And do not forget to enjoy what you are doing. Without enjoyment, what is the entire point of art? Art is an expression of emotion for me. So I guess not just happy, you can be sad too, whatever. But make sure that sadness is your motivation to make art, not the kind of sadness that you want to stop art. You know what I mean? Like, use those emotions as your motivation, not as barrier. So I've pretty much tackled all my points, I guess. That's how I do it. That's how I've been coping, or how I've been able to improve my art. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something new. And maybe you'll be able to use these tips in your art process, and hopefully I was able to help you. So that's all. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my babbling. Anyways, about this drawing, I am showing on screen. You notice that it had a lot of changes. That's because I didn't know what to add or take away, because for me it felt very weird. For me it looked really weird. So as you saw, there were a lot of changes in the colors, the backgrounds just now. So yeah. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but in the sketch, he originally had was supposed to have like a halo, or like a cap or something, um, or like something of the sort. But as I was drawing this, it just slipped out of my mind, and I kind of forgot about it. But well, it's finished now, so I can't do anything about it anymore. So, anyways, um, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much again for listening to me yapping about improvement. I hope I was able to help you too. That's all. Thank you.